So today, I guess, I will say the other thing I'll say about myself is that, despite the fact that I did go to Harvard and Yale, I am also, when we talk about the topic for today's event, my understanding is the situation of the working poor, let's say, in the United States and Arizona, and what needs to be done to actually alleviate that situation. And so, for the record, I, for most of my life, was working poor. My first job was when I was 15. I was a busboy at an IHOP, and my mother was a waitress. I worked full-time as a grocery clerk throughout high school. And then in college, I held down 3 jobs at a time to be able to pay for college. I worked in the libraries. I cleaned bathrooms. I catered. I danced for a while at a club. A regular club, and I also was a bartender and a bouncer at a biker bar for a while. So I basically did everything I could to pay for college, and still ended up with, between my parents and I, about $40,000 or $50,000 in debt when we got out to be able to pay for that education. And then, even as a teacher, and some of you might have familiarity with this, as a teacher at Yale, I was still working poor. I still only made about $10,000 a year as a teacher. And that's basically how I got really turned on to organizing, because at Yale there was an organization, the teachers were organized, the graduate teachers were organizing to try to have a voice at the institution. And in order to win, in order to really have a difference, we worked together with the clerical and technical workers there, who were a bunch of middle-aged white women mostly, and the dining hall maintenance workers were all African American. And to really push what started when I got to Yale University as a $10 billion institution was a $20 billion institution by the time I left. And so it's a massive institution, and you're trying to make change. You need a lot of power. So we had to figure out how to work together. And it was an incredible experience, and one which I tried to bring here to Arizona as part of the same groups. Like the CASE is affiliated with an organization in New Haven called the Connecticut Center for New Economy, and we're both associated with the Hospitality Workers Union Unite here. And so we try to build movements that are based in the power that labor organizations have when we organize the workplace, but are much more broad in their goals than what you might generally think unions are, right? Where we're really trying to build a movement, just like Marguerite Casey is. The rest of the organization is the foundation. And so I've been here in Arizona for about 5 years doing that, and with CASE for about a year. Right? So I'm not going to say too much about the Equal Voice or Margaret Casey, except for to say that yes, Margaret Casey is a wonderful foundation that does fund movement building organizations in Arizona and across the United States. There are 15 in Arizona. I think there's about 5 in Maricopa County and 10 in Tucson, or by the border. And a lot of these foundations are really concerned with immigration and funding a lot of border organizations. Maricopa County is because of the political realities here, it's extraordinarily difficult to get foundation funding. And so the kind of work that we do, it's very difficult to do without money. And Margaret Casey is one of the very few foundations that does fund in Arizona and has taken Arizona as a priority. And we're a new grantee. We just came on the roster in October. Right? So the Equal Voice process, the Equal Voice campaign that you have seen, we're just getting into it as well. I know what it is, but we're just starting to participate, right? So it is, there are 200 grant organizations trying to come together, 200 Margaret Casey grantees, coming together and see if we could make be more than some of our parts if we were to actually come up with a national advocacy campaign. And so you're going to see what the fruits of that work are in the movie. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about Arizona, the particularities of Arizona's case, because I think a lot of these people are they're in the South, they're in Chicago, Boston, like all LA, San Francisco, all over the country, and a lot of places where building a movement of working people is frankly just not as hard as it is in Arizona. Like, and I don't know if you guys know much about this, but it is very, very difficult if any of you have ever been involved in any effort to try to lift up working people in Arizona. And I will say too that today, I understand that when Kimberly was speaking, she's talking to you about how you can use these materials in the classroom. But I think I'm going to kind of take it back a step and actually just talk to you guys as citizens, if that's all right, as opposed to as educators, because I feel like we need to be educated, and we need to think about this stuff. And I think in our educational system, there is very little talk about injustice in any way that's not really kind of, I don't know, bland, I guess, let's say. And I won't go more into that, although I could for hours and hours.